You're up. Stop. Have a seat. Next.
Now before Brian starts, oh God, he's got all. Hi Dennis.
You want me to announce that now?
Yes, we're going to announce now about Mary, and we're going to announce that they speak to us. Nobody speaks until we have finished with all our answers, and then we recognize the people on the floor. One question, 3 minutes.
Okay, so what we'd like to do, what the commission would like to do is, I'd like you to know that one of our commission members, son, works for a union, and that union is has some of its members working on the pipeline project. Commission member's son is not involved in that project, but we just want to disclose that information so everybody's aware of that. So that allows us to have a forum this evening, because we'll have to take a vote this evening. So what we'd like to do is allow Brian to speak and Dennis to speak, and then I'm sure people will have questions for the commission and for Brian and Dennis. And in the interest of time and order, what we'd like to do is allow each individual to ask one question and hold it to a period of 3 minutes, and I think that would satisfy everybody's opportunity to get the information that they're looking for. So that's what we'd like to do this evening. If everybody's
It's
okay with
also
that.
what we've done from the beginning. For the 2 years that we've been working with Cindy Morgan.
Yeah, very similar to what the EPA did in the public hearing.
Well, thanks for putting us on the agenda. It's good to see you folks again. First and foremost, what the order of business that we'd like to put before you for a vote and for approval is the 2 additional EI resumes that we've submitted. As you know, and the public is aware, one of our conditions states that we need to submit our environmental inspectors. They have to meet certain performance standards, years of experience, educational components, etc. And we have provided the commission with 2 additional folks that we'd like to get approval for. From our perspective, they're both highly qualified and have been doing this work for the requisite years that are required. So that would be our first order of business.
Just state their names.
Yep, and their names are Albert Young and Molly.
Not a Stein.
Stein.
Sure. Molly's last name is Notestine.
What was Albert's first name?
Young.
Molly? Molly Stein.
Not Stein. Thank you. Yeah, Albert's got over 25 years experience. He just came off another pipeline project that's in the Northeast region. So they both reside locally in Western Mass, so they're a good fit for us to have on this project because of commute times and the amount of hours that we've been working, and just in terms of rotations and letting people come and go. We just need some more folks on the approved vendor list, if you will.
Yeah, Molly is a professional wetland scientist, Master of Science from UMass, so they're both highly qualified and will be working under Eric Olson as the lead EI.
Just giving Mary a little bit of time to review.
Before he does that, Brian, I want to thank you every time I forward one of those letters, your quick response. Much appreciated.
And I can guarantee we'll continue to be responsive to the project. So,
I'm sure you will, because I keep looking for it. The two ladies, excuse me, were here early tonight, downloaded everything.
okay, good.
Right
So
up to the last word I got from you today.
okay, so that's working out well for you. Good.
Now, yeah.
And just to let you, Commissioners, know while the review is going on here, one of the things that we've been requested to do and have agreed to do is actually put a hard copy as well in your public library. So,
Oh, well, that'd be great.
so that way folks will have it there as well.
Are you going to be doing it?
Thank you.
Me or one of my EIs will be doing it weekly.
Okay, if they go by and it's not within library hours, there's a book bank outside.
Oh, great.
Just throw it in there.
That's good information. Thank you.
Mhm.
Oh, good for you. You must be,
No, I have to have a big anyway.
yeah, it's still,
No,
it's
I
there,
have,
so
Yeah.
one less place.
Yeah, it's one more
Yeah.
place that the folks in this town,
Yeah.
Right.
they can go to get that information.
but I'll still have it on the external thing, and I have to always have a hard copy, a paper copy of everything we do by law. It's getting like this. That's just since 2017.
Okay.
I'm just going to pull up my notes here first. I can give you a quick project update I have.
All right, let's get a motion to approve the two EIs presented to the commission.
I make a motion, we approve the two EIs.
Second.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yep.
Aye. Okay. So we're approved the two environmental inspectors so that they can work on the pipeline. And as they indicated, they have a more senior EI, but this allows them to be their individual.
Okay, so I think one of the other things that we talked about doing when we come to these meetings is just to provide the commission a project update and to allow you to ask any questions that you may have or that you think would be important. So currently on the right of way, as you folks have probably seen driving by, we're making some progress starting at Town Hill Road and working our way back to South Beach Plain Road. Right now, we've currently got on the corridor environmental crews working. Those folks are maintaining and installing ECDs daily. We have a right-of-way tree stump removal, stump grinding, and essentially a first hack at moving some of the surface laid boulders out of the way. Behind them is a right-of-way crew, and they're coming through and they're pushing all of that material to the side of the corridor in our workspace called windrowing. They're setting up that permanent travel lanes that the rest of the crews will be coming behind on. Behind them, we've got ditching going on. The ditching is the crew that is digging the actual ditch. They're doing that right now primarily with excavators. We have done some minor blasting in areas where we've run into some ledge and are unable to use that piece of equipment. And then behind them, what we've just recently started in the past week is stringing operations, and that's essentially what you'll see off of downhill right now, where we have the pipe actually laid alongside the ditch in preparation for our welding crews to come on site and connect all those pieces up. So that's moving along. We're really starting to make some progress with that, with the more deeper phases of construction. So that's essentially, the project that I have for you. If you folks have any questions, I know there's been a few that we've talked about. So
I got an email today, and the rental excavator is working in the buffer with a hydraulic leak. I just want to answer, like,
I have not seen I saw that email come across that you sent me. Essentially, what what we've got in place, and what's approved to the commission is a spill response plan. That spill plan essentially addresses what our commitments are if there is a release of vegetable-based oil, motor oil, etc. So the way we handle these is if our EI sees them or if an operator notices it, anybody on the project, everybody on the project is looking out for this sort of stuff. They contact the EI. The EI puts together and oversees the cleanup. Cleanup gets properly stored at our pipe yard and then gets disposed of through the contracts that we've set up with those various waste vendors. This particular one that you mentioned today, I haven't heard of it other than from what you told me today. So I will follow up on it. But as I said when I responded back to you, I laid out essentially that process. There's two things that are kind of important to note. Massachusetts, the Mass Contingency Plan, the MCP dictates which one of those spills, and then what are just essentially releases that need to be going through the process of cleaned up like I laid out, but don't need to be reported to the federal government or state governments.
Well, when you check on it, will you send me
I
an
will.
email?
I'll follow up on that email.
And
Yes.
just because I want it for the records.
Do we need notice of spills so that when
He always sends them to
we
us.
get them?
Right, so
And I
Brian,
send them on to Paul right away.
Perfect.
so Brian has over-sent this documentation when it comes to this, so,
This is good.
which is good. But, the appropriate language needs to be used because there's a release and there's a spill. And there's a quantity associated
Right.
with whatever is released, whether it dictates whether it's a release or a spill. So if there's a release, then, there's certain responses that need to happen, and then if there's a spill, additional more notification would take place, and maybe different professions may get involved in a larger spill. As far as I know right now, there hasn't been any reported spills.
Correct. We have not had any on this.
The paper noticed that you had work was stopped for one point because some environmental species was found or something like that.
I don't know what paper.
The Eagle, the Berkshire
Yeah.
Eagle, about a week ago had
Okay.
a little notice that there was a section
Yep.
that was closed because they found some species.
Okay.
And has work resumed or whatever?
Work has resumed.
Okay, that's what's good.
in that area. I wasn't playing coy. I wasn't.
No, I
wasn't
understand.
aware of that
No, I
particular
understand.
article. But we did identify. We had a plan in place to address rare species, in particular bird species. So we've executed that plan. And, much of that plan is kind of outside the jurisdiction of the commission. So I can let you know that we followed our plan and made the appropriate actions. Per that
Well, it
plan.
looked like that in the article anyway. So, like, I was just wondering if, work was resumed.
Yeah, so we have biological monitors. We have lots of
Yeah, that's what it,
monitors out there.
That's what I noted in the paper.
Sort of things.
any other additions you want to present?
You folks have questions?
No, I mean, the latest inspection took place, what's today? Took place, what, Monday? Last Friday.
Last Friday.
So Emily updated the commission. She specifically looked at 2 resource areas for erosion controls. Erosion controls were in place. Had a lot of discussion on earth moving and erosion controls, is my understanding with Emily. So Emily hasn't come back and said that she has found any areas of significant concern that we need to address with yourselves.
And Emily's been doing that every 2 weeks. She's on a 2-week rotation. So I guess it's a good thing. I could also point out we've had other agencies that have been inspecting as well on a regular basis. So
My understanding is there's somebody from the DEC on site,
Yep.
or third-party representation from the
So the
DEC.
DCR's got a third-party inspector as well, and they are providing weekly reports to DCR. And we obviously do our own internal reports, and I know Emily's been coming out every 2 weeks. So.
So the public has sent photographs of issues with the project. Essentially have taken those, that information, asked for formal responses back from the project management, which they have responded. In addition to that, there's been some follow-up discussion and follow-up inspections by Emily based upon your feedback. So I want to let you know that, the information that you presented to the commission has been acted upon. I've also had discussions with Mass DEP over some of the concerns that you guys have raised, and just to ensure that the commission was following the right path forward. And the Mass DEP confirmed that what we were doing, asking for formal responses, getting immediate action from Kinder Morgan is appropriate. So with that, I don't have any further questions. So if there's people in the audience that have questions, please let me know. And again, we'll have one question, 3 minutes per individual, and we'll move forward.
Okay, I guess I can boil it down a little simply here. Could we possibly have taller signs for the buffer zones, for the places not to fuel the vehicle, for the wetlands boundaries, for all that? Because now that the weeds and stuff and wildflowers have grown up, they tend to obscure the signs. So I think that might cause problems if the operators can't see the signs, so they may not know what they should and should not be doing in a certain area. Because as I have sent to the commission, I have some pictures and videos of vehicles being fueled clearly in the buffer zone, right next to a sign that says no refueling beyond this point. So I'm just a little confounded with that.
So, upon your picture, I asked for a formal response from Brian, who responded. I went down and happened to see the fuel truck there again,
Okay.
and just watched and didn't act, and no refueling took place in the buffer zone. So then at that point, I asked the individual on site if he was aware of the buffer zones. He was clearly aware of the buffer zones, pointed them out to me, and talked. And then his supervisor came down the hill and confirmed that he knew where the buffer zones were, and that they shouldn't be refueling in the buffer zone. So it was good to see that that follow-up had taken place. The individuals clearly knew where the buffer zones were. I'd hate to have them rely on a sign. Hopefully they go over that information prior to reaching that activity. So I don't know if people are rotating in and out to a point where that's an issue or not, but these two individuals clearly knew appropriate refueling areas. So.
Okay, that wasn't the case when I went by.
I agree.
So
I agree.
I didn't know if they had acknowledged that that had taken place, or.
Well, it was clear from the picture.
Okay.
The sign, it wasn't obstructed by vegetation or anything like that.
And that was 3 weeks ago or so.
So I've received a formal response back from Brian. We've talked about refueling. Refueling is an issue based upon buffer zone to buffer zone. I don't know if you have anything else to present to the commission at this point on refueling.
I don't know at this point, other than what it provided to date.
So we've discussed significant levels of detail of saying, at all costs, all refueling should take place outside of the buffer zone. And then if any refueling has to take place within the buffer zone, that the EI is present. Okay, so such things as at some point in time they're going to have pumps in the stream, and of course you're going to have to refuel those. Equipment, you impact the buffer zone driving that equipment back and forth, or do you take the chance and refuel with everybody there and aware of the situation? It's a tough one. So I don't like refueling in buffer zones.
Okay, is that allowed under the order of conditions?
Based upon the way you know, there's a federal plan, there's a state plan, and then there's our orders of conditions. You know, if it makes sense, like I just said, to get outside of the buffer zone, then that should be taking place.
Okay.
But,
So
you know, even if they refueled on the road,
Basis, yeah.
the road is within buffer zone, so, you know, those kind of things, does it make sense to refuel out on the road, but you're in a buffer zone, or do you know, and leave the equipment on, you know, if it is on the road, then I think that's a more appropriate place to refuel. And then, like I said, you have to look at the impacts to the buffer zone if you wanted to move that equipment outside of the buffer zone. You know, all the traffic in and out, it's going to impact the area, so. I leave a lot of it up to the judgment of the EI at that point.
Okay. And are their reports going to be available to the public, the EI's reports? I mean, do they have?
Yeah, they're available upon request to the commission right now.
Okay.
Right, is it correct?
Yeah,
That's where we're staying right now with those. I mean, we get a weekly report,
Okay.
and they're with the commission right now.
And he's saying that they're going to start putting them in the library.
Okay. Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, well, since we're talking about refueling, let me just get the picture there. That is the fuel truck. Access Road 1.
Yep.
Okay. Heavy piece of equipment, by the way. And it's sitting there. That is the 100-foot buffer zone sign.
Mm-hmm.
No refueling beyond this point.
Right.
And just so you know that really is the fuel truck. That really is the fuel truck. I have the movie too, it's even better.
Yeah.
That's Access Road 1. And,
Can you also make sure he sees it?
oh, I'm sorry. There you go.
I think that was last Friday, wasn't it?
Ooh. Did I take that picture? Give me a second. Look at my piece of paper. 6/12. Okay. 6/12. That was from, and these are dated. All of my photos are dated.
Okay.
So I don't know what date last
So-
Friday was.
Okay, so what's your question?
Well, I'm just saying that if I have some concerns that despite the fact that there are signs and it says no refueling, that they are. Now, I know this was very early in the morning and there were absolutely no environmental inspectors present.
Right.
That much I can guarantee.
Okay.
I was there. So was the little security guard and the fuel truck. Okay. That also, since there is, I mean, obviously it's a buffer. It's all wetland in there. And I guess my concern is...
Did they refuel, or is he just idling waiting for equipment to show up, or did he?
No, I took a picture of him pulling out. They do actually try to keep the equipment in the right-of-way area at night, instead of pulling it out and bringing it all to the pipe yard or anything stupid like that. So the equipment is in there, but the equipment could move to a different spot other than Access Road 1 to get refueled. And I guess I don't know what the consequences of the current variance request to the FERC will be on Access Road 1, but since it is in wetland and buffer, I don't know if it's going to get widened. I don't know anything, but I do know that it's for non-tandem rubber-tired vehicles only. So they won't be bringing those pieces of heavy equipment in and out. Not there. So they'll have to move them someplace else. Am I making sense?
Yeah, I mean, what you're talking about, FERC isn't under the jurisdiction of what they decide.
Well, no. I'm just saying that they can't refuel their equipment at the road, because an appropriate way to deal with this particular issue is to take your piece of equipment and bring it out of access road 1 to the road, and then you can refuel it outside of the 100-foot buffer. It cannot be done in this situation because it is not for heavy-duty equipment.
Okay.
So this is going to happen again, and I'll take a picture of it again.
Okay.
Or a solution has to be determined, but there's no current permission to use heavy equipment. Even I don't know what the weight of the oil truck is, and I don't even know if it's.
Okay,
I don't know if it's too heavy, but it's rubber tired.
Okay, the commission doesn't have any orders of condition limiting them to rubber tires or weight of equipment.
No, yeah, I'm trying to be informative.
Oh.
Okay, what the commission does have is a rule saying you cannot refuel in a buffer.
Right.
And the current issue is that until they have permission, or whether, if they ever do get permission to use that particular road to bring their machines out, they will not be able to bring their machines out, but a rubber-tired vehicle can go in. So are they going to break the commission's rules, or are they going to break your rules? Does that make sense?
No, we represent the commission. I don't have any rules, so.
No. The Federal Energy Regulatory. They'll either be breaking the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission's rules or the CONCOM's rules. But
like I just mentioned, moving equipment in and out of buffer zones can impact the buffer zone more than the potential of having an EI there witnessing the refueling and ensuring that there's no spill.
Right, and if they have an inspector there and your permission, that's one thing, but that's not what was happening, and that's all I'm saying.
Okay, yeah, I see the
Okay.
truck there, but I don't see them refueling, and I'm not saying that they didn't refuel, but that's not what you presented to the commission. You just have a picture of a fuel truck within the buffer zone. Correct?
That is true,
Okay.
and
Because
so
it
what
is
the commission is
access
saying
road.
is, if I see a problem, I should wait till I'm certain that there has been a conflict with the commission's order of condition before
Yeah,
I say
because-
I have concerns.
No, you can issue your concerns to the commission, but if there's no infraction of the order, we may overreact. But if you ask the commission, or if you have a concern of the commission, I've forwarded those to Brian, and Brian has responded. There's one photograph of an excavator in an area with no erosion controls in place. Right, so they said, okay, they're excavating. There's no erosion controls in place, and that violates the order of conditions. The investigation revealed that they were, I believe, at the point brush hogging, and brush hogging was hooked up to that piece of equipment, so they were clearing so that they could put their erosion controls in place. So sometimes a photograph doesn't represent what's actually happening, and I understand that, but that was a concern, and the commission acted upon the concern, and we got a response, formal response back from Kinder Morgan.
Okay, and I totally appreciate that the.
So, if you have concerns, the commission is welcome to act upon your concerns.
Well, one of the concerns is, and I have the photograph of the leaky vehicle. Yeah, and if you'd like to see the pictures, but I didn't call you guys.
Oh, no, you should send those to the commission. Yes.
Okay, I'll send
And
you
we'll
pictures.
act on it, and
Okay, well, because I literally get no response. I mean, I can't, and Brian wouldn't even tell me what a response would be.
Okay,
I
so
literally get no
prior
response.
to the project's start, the commission spoke to everybody, and we said this would be the opportunity for us to respond back to you. I cannot take the time out of my work and respond back to everybody's concern in a timely manner, okay? So I'm working, I work 11, 12 hours a day most of the time, right? So I get home,
Totally get it.
I only have a half hour to myself before I go back to sleep and then wake up and do it all over again. So I don't have, I just got an email this evening from an individual who said, I sent you an email last Friday and I didn't get a response back from you. That's true.
Well, it wasn't
I don't,
me.
I don't, you know, the commission doesn't, you know, myself, I can't respond back in a super timely fashion. But if you have an issue, it is easy for me to take your photographs and your concerns and forward them to Brian. And they will act on it.
Okay.
So
I
don't feel
will-
that you're not being heard, and that's what I said earlier.
Oh,
Or
that's
get
absolutely
responses
how I feel.
back, immediate response, usually within 24 hours back from Kinder Morgan on your issues.
Okay,
And then
well,
I've
I'm
asked-
waiting, I'm still waiting for
And then I've asked
Colin
Emily
to
to go back
deal
out in the
with
field and
noise
double check.
sensitivity.
And she's found compliance with those issues, so.
Okay,
All right.
alrighty
Is there any other questions? Yeah.
Have you checked on the hydro fluids and you feel comfortable it really is vegetable based?
Have I asked for an analysis? No, I have not. The commission has not asked for an analysis, and I don't know of any. I don't know of anybody going that far and asking for an oil analysis.
But you feel comfortable that
I don't think that they would jeopardize that project with that. We had a lot of discussion around how much it would cost to go to vegetable oil, and Brian also came to the commission and stated that they were having trouble with one unit because they thought it might be a significant safety factor moving towards the vegetable oil. So I feel confident that they acted appropriately.
Other question, is
And
there,
I believe Emily has gone out in the field, and I don't think, she hasn't done an oil analysis, but she's asked.
okay. Other questions, is there any way to make the monitoring reports available digitally online so one does not have to come down to Sandisfield to collect them?
At this point in time, it's not something that we've been able to do yet. And I think that's something that we addressed prior to the project. We just don't have that ability at this point in time to get them uploaded in a timely fashion.
Could I ask through you to Kinder Morgan's representative if they could send them to DEP such that DEP could make them available?
You can ask. I mean, I can't force them to do anything. I mean, if the DEP requests it, I'm sure they would provide it to the DEP. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
Okay. I don't see anybody else with a question. Does everybody feel comfortable? Are you guys feel comfortable with this? I mean,
Not even a little bit.
Okay, I guess, can I?
all right, no,
just
it's all right. I just
clarify?
wanted to see if everybody.
Well, I'm just saying that, I mean, what has happened with me is I have gotten so frustrated is that, and I don't know if you're familiar with where my property is, but I can see a wetland from my property. And so when they were finally installing silt fence, and the little dudes who obviously had an issue with even knowing how to install silt fence, needed to re-gas their vehicle. And they went and got a gas can and walked it down to where the little, I mean, it was like a hand-pushed ditch witch. So they walked down to the middle of this wetland, and they were going to simply pour the gas into this thing in the wetland, which is completely impressive. At which point, I lost my mind. I called my TGP person that I was supposed to call, and I told him, feel free to call the cops for me walking onto the right-of-way, but I am not going to let them do that. And so then they didn't do that. I didn't have to deal with the cops, and I property when they did the right thing. But I can't do that on a regular basis. I've got to be able to rely on having somebody I can call to say, deal with this right now, because sure, they could have tried to refuel that. I could have sat there and taken all the pictures I wanted, and if they'd spilled, it would have been a problem.
Okay, so you call your Tennessee Gas?
Oh God, who was my contact at that point? Jim Blaze. I called Jim Blaze. I had called him 3 times already that morning saying, please would you get somebody here to watch what these guys are doing, because they have no idea what they're doing and it's very obvious. And by the time they brought the gas can there, I just called him and said, fine, I'll deal with it. It's not my job. But it got dealt with. And there is finally silt fence, and they actually put the silt fence in the day before Emily came. On Access Road 1. And they finished it up, and I watched Brian take the pictures of the silt fence the day before they came. In fact, I took a picture of him, and he took a picture of me taking a picture of him. So I'm just saying, I don't feel like there's a lot of communication. I'll be happy to CC you on any complaints that I have which involve the Conservation Commission. And I would appreciate not complaining so much. It would, I mean.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. And I think they heard what you said.
Okay.
But everything that you take a picture of, everything that you put up and send to the Conservation Commission, if I usually open it up once a day. It goes to Brian that day. So there is communication and it's going straight through.
Right, I just never hear anything. I mean, literally. Never
I
hear.
agree with what you're saying, because we said this would be our forum for communicating back to you.
Right.
Once a month.
Not every issue involves the compound. I realize that you're the compound.
Yep.
Yeah. Same thing for them too.
All right, I think that there's no other questions, so we'll close the hearing. Appreciate everybody's attendance. Thank you.
It doesn't have any, it was buffer zone, but they don't have any authority or
Send you something.
I mean,
That's,
We have something in writing.
because I know it says in writing, so,
Yeah, I can forward it to Claire, who can forward it to
however, like, I'm comfortable with just email, I don't need anything.
she can put it in the new.
Yeah, however you want to do it, just stop.
That way through the
That way if anybody asks.
He wants a copy of the sometimes.
Before I had a formal document, I can create that document.
and what date was it?
Yeah, or like I said,
And you can have my signature on it and say,
Yeah, totally, exactly.
yeah, that's my order, copy, just my signature, whatever's easiest for you, just send me writing, so email, I think, the person is fine.
They're right on it today. Okay, so I got to hear a response, but I didn't hear Carrie. Right?
Thank you, be in touch, I'm sure, quite right in this.
You're right, Chaplain.
Which is fine, but Carrie Anderson still have to call me back in 2 days or